all probably familiar now with Labour MP Thangam Debbonaire. Well, earlier this week, she slammed performances of Rule Britannia last night at the proms. She said they were alienating. Well, the Tories duly criticised Debbonaire for having little pride in Britain. And it turns out that she's been receiving Arabic lessons, OK, at the expense of the British taxpayer since she began classes in 2017. Records revealed by the Daily Mail show that the taxpayers, as you, me, everyone we know, has paid £20,800 to allow Debbonaire to communicate with Middle Eastern refugees in her constituency. Last year alone, she spent £4,344 on Arabic lessons. That's a huge surge from the £2,697 she had spent. Well, it's not her spending it, it's us spending it. Anyway, we'd spent by 2018. So while this isn't against parliamentary rules, which I find remarkable, by the way, we did put some questions to Thangam Debbonaire earlier on about her learning the language, OK? Given that she's been learning Arabic now for more than 7 years, we asked her if she was fluent. How often has she actually used Arabic in her everyday duties as a Member of Parliament? Is there actually any evidence that she can provide of her effectively using Arabic on public record? She didn't reply. Maybe we should ask her in Arabic. Anyway, to discuss this now, I'm joined by my panellists, former BBC Chief Political Correspondent John Sargent, Director of Popular Conservatives Mark Littlewood, and entrepreneur and social commentator Joanna Jarju. Mark, I'll start with you on this. Why the flipping heck is the taxpayer paying 20 grand for Thangam Debbonaire to be able to speak to refugees?
Yeah, it's a fair point at first blush, isn't it? And I kind of thought that. And then I sort of read the story and... Is it because it's refugees? Is that your problem, Patrick? There's a Conservative MP who's spent more on getting Polish lessons. I think that's for his constituents.
The worst thing about that is he is already Polish, I believe.
So, but here's my issue with it. It's not actually the principle of it. I can understand, and you can argue whether this is the right side of the line, that an MP needs some linguistic assistance. But 20 grand?
Yeah.
She should have a PhD in Arabic literature by now. I was looking through my mobile phone earlier. I won't read out the brand names, but you can get apps that teach you languages. 200 quid for a lifetime subscription. 200 quid for a lifetime subscription. 20 grand. This is absolutely extraordinary. So they should just use the cheaper version. But, of course, as you rightly pointed out, Patrick, when it's not their money, you don't see the same sort of spending constraint.
Yeah, so it's just the same question. Why are we paying for this?
Because it's needed. She's a public servant, and also... yeah, but she's a public servant and it's part of her job, and she's got a certain amount of people in her constituency that may need this service and may need her to communicate clearly. Then I don't see why she shouldn't kind of make that effort.
You can use ChatGPT. It costs £9 a month.
Well, look, I'm not saying that there shouldn't be any scrutiny when it comes to how much money, because I can't believe that I actually agree with you, Matt, for once, but like everything that you said. But I can't believe that she spent that much money. But at the same time, it is needed. And maybe when we dig deeper, we'll realise. And it's not like she's the one who's going for this wildly expensive thing. They're clearly on all a similar programme because they're all...
They're all at it.
I mean, you could go to uni and study Arabic three times for that, John.
No, the point about it is that we all know how awful most people here are about learning languages. I mean, they just think, oh, no, we don't need to bother with that. And yet, if you come across people, as I've come across people recently, who've been in this country for a long time, still can't speak English very well. Mm-hmm. And if you are in an area which she represents, which is Bristol West, there are lots and lots of people, particularly older people. Yes, they're migrants. They're not born in this country. And you also are trying to get them to integrate into our society. So it's not that stupid to make sure that your MP, when you're trying to explain how the system works, can actually speak not perfect, fluent Arabic, because that takes too long. She's not a young person. So she needs to work quite hard to get enough fluency to sort of almost say hello and all the rest.
20 grand!
This is it!
Wait a minute.
Wait
a minute. All right, the other thing is this. If you were an MP and you offered, you can have all sorts of languages. Icelandic was one of the languages they were offering. Mandarin was another. So you could just apply for what the language thing is. The idea that, oh, I know what to do. I'll have an app, then I'll suddenly be able to speak Arabic. Come on.
No, it takes a bit of work.
Maybe it's private tutoring.
but it's not private. Look, if you have to learn a language, which is extremely difficult, everyone thinks, oh, it's simple. In 5 days you can speak French. No, it takes a very, very long time for an older person.
Shouldn't the
to
people
have a
in
grasp of language.
Is there an argument to say that the
Cut
people,
them off,
the
don't
people,
speak Arabic, don't
that the people
try
in
and
her
communicate with
constituency
them. No,
should
come on.
do more to learn English, not the other way around.
I think that's right, but obviously, if it's 20 grand a head to learn to speak English, that's going to be one hell of a bill,
20
right?
grand, though, it's over 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, but still,
Don't exaggerate this. She's had 72 hours of tuition. Now, you may say, oh, there should have been 72 hours of tuition.
How much is it costing an hour?
No, it's...
but don't forget she's got to be able to...
Hold on a moment. You don't know where the teaching's taking place, whether it's in
a palace. In a palace.
All right. No, but you can laugh about it. OK, so how good are your languages? Are you worried because it's Arabic? Are you worried because it's Arabic? Is that what you wanted?
No, I just think I'm worried. I'm still watching. I'm worried about all of it, right? I'm worried that it's costing taxpayers £20,000. I'm now concerned that the hourly rate might be bonkers, which only had 72 hours of lessons. I'm worried, frankly, at a lack of integration, and I think it's shocking. I think the whole thing, top to bottom, is a bit of a shocker.
I think it's probably, but as a language,
you don't care about whether or not your MPs can communicate properly with all their constituents. I think that's important. You don't care about whether or not people living closed lives...
John, I'd like to see evidence that she's actually learning this language and using it.
Those GBNews questions were fair. I mean, I'm very proudly trilingual, speak English, American and Australian, all fluently.
How much did it cost you?
It didn't cost me much at all. Picked it up as I went along.
But we really, honestly, we may think it's funny, but when you see how hopeless people are, particularly MPs, at speaking anything apart from English...
Do it in a budget,
but also,
though, John. Come on, do it within a budget.
As well, if you're going to learn it as well, she's probably learning, reading, writing, speaking. It's
I want to see the works of literature she can produce.
All the people laughing, saying it's pointless. I think
it's too expensive. I agree, it's too expensive, and I think there's some serious questions to answer, like, have you got any evidence that you've ever used this? But anyway...